As a child, I loved to talk. As I got older, I never stopped. I'm Yvonne, the motivator, man. This is Determined Women of Destiny. I'm about to give you the business, the good, the bad, and the beautiful of female entrepreneurship. Hey, everybody. I want to welcome to the show Yvonne Forbes. She is a woman of many, many, many talents. An entrepreneur extraordinaire, you could say. She is from London. She has this fabulous British accent. She calls herself a British born lass. I
Yes, that's
love that.
true.
And she's known as Miss Diva Daz.
Yes.
So I just want to welcome Yvonne. Yvonne, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Now, my big question is after reading your bio, how did you go from a master's in social work to having your very own public relations firm?
Well, it started out, how can I say this? I had started my company while I was working, still working in the field, and then when I left the company, um, I was also a model for many years, and then I started representing models and designers, and being in the fashion world, and then it just led from one thing to another, and a lot of people were approaching me, well, can you please represent me here and represent me there, and that's how I branched out into working with authors and actors and models and musicians, and I kind of like just built a La Bella Diva is more of a company, not just public relations, but like one-stop shopping, offering all forms of promotions in different forms of promotion. So um, that's how I got into public relations.
Did you?
And I just wanted to, at the time when I started my business, my mother was alive, and she and I always talked about, always having your own, building your own brand, and she always believed me. She always knew I was very creative, and I kind of like went into the science side to please my dad, and then but my mom understood the other side of me. This is like more cultural thing, and then I just decided to start my company, and just started building and building and building and building, and here we are.
Did you start your company in London or did you
No,
start?
I started it here. Yeah,
Okay.
I left London when I was. Well, I'm actually from Sheffield. I'm not from London.
Mhm.
Sheffield is about 5.5 hours north of London, and I started my company here, um, and that was about 2008.
So when did you know that, hey, I've got a knack for this? I hear the passion, but I have a knack for this. I can make this work. And I can say goodbye, deuces, so long, to this 9 to 5, and I can make it on my own.
Yes, actually, I found that I was working with a designer by the name of Adrian Alessier, and apparently, I was doing this for him just for the sake of doing it. And then apparently, he had somebody who claimed that they were a publicist. And then I guess with my education and my knowledge and just basic common sense, I knew that at the time he was kind of being ripped off, and this person really didn't know what they were talking about. So I looked into it and I said, listen, I'll do this for you. So I did it for him, and it was hugely successful. And I mean, he had like one of the biggest shows during Fashion Week that week, and um, the press that came out was amazing. The Where the show was, and I have the gift of gab. There were certain things that he needed, and he was like, "If I call him, you know what to say," and it would I would do it, and it would happen. So I really just build and built and built and built, and I also had another client that I kind of like took under my wings, but um, I was doing a little bit of this before for my company. I was kind of like in that PR area. You just know. Like I said, I was working with a designer, and he asked me to do some things for him in regards to public relations, because he did have somebody who was working for him, and that person was kind of ripping him off. And when I looked at the agreement, I said, this is not how it's done. You know, working in the field of social work and working in the capacity that I was working with, I was very much a people person. You have to be a people person. You have to be able to communicate your needs, your wants, and you know, I kind of just moved those skills into that area. And then when I realized I was good at it, I ran with it.
Now, let us know exactly what public relations is. We hear a lot about PR. Like if you want to, interact with anybody that has any type of fame, oh, you have to speak to my PR person. Actually, that's how I came in contact with you, speaking to someone and saying, you have to
Right.
speak to my PR person. So tell us exactly what public relations, what do they do?
That's exactly what it is. We are a liaison between the media and the artist, whether the artist is an author or a singer or a, you know, dancer, model. We're the liaison, and basically what we do, we also promote the individual. We also source uh, media. We want to get your clients into the media because that's how they remain popular. They remain popular, you know, it leads to more activities, could be red carpets, interviews. So that's what we do as publicists. Not only that, we maintain the image of our clients. We want to make sure that our clients remain positive in the public eye, you know, have a great image. You know, then there's such a thing as like bad publicity and good publicity, but and it could be good for the artist, but it still needs to be controlled. It needs to be balled up in a way where it helps the artist to really promote their brand. And media relations is basically the same thing. You know, we're doing a relationship with the media, and we build a rapport with the media so we can say, listen, I'd like for my artist to be interviewed with your particular outlet. And we set it up. That's what we
Okay.
do.
Because I think that maybe some people don't really understand what public relations is and how important it is to your brand.
It is
Everybody's on social media now. Everybody, me, myself, I'm like, hey, good people, it's Yvonne, the motivator man. But we really need somebody that understands how we need to set our brand up in front of the public eye so that that eye keeps looking towards us.
absolutely, because you want to bring more visibility to your brand. And ultimately, like if you have, let's say you have a brick and mortar store, you want to bring more visibility to that brick and mortar store, whatever the product is, because that's going to increase your sales. But at the same time, we're not salespeople and we are not agents and we're not managers. So we are constantly working, you know, tirelessly working hour after hour, making phone calls, on Zoom calls, you know, trying to bring more visibility to the brand. And that's what we do as publicists. And then also, let's say the artist, something happens to the artist and what we call crisis management. You know, some bad publicity comes up. We have to be the ones to clean that up so that we can keep that artist relevant.
I know they call it getting in front of the narrative.
Yes, it's certainly, yes, absolutely.
Well, we have to go to break, but when I come back from break, I want you to discuss a little bit more about how you service your clients and why your clients need that liaison. It's very, very important. You just can't pick up the phone and do it yourself. It's so much involved. So we're coming right back after break. You guys make sure you come back. And Yvonne, hold on. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hey, good people, it's Yvonne, the motivator man from Determined Women of Destiny. Many of you have asked, how do I keep this fro so fabulous? She's extraordinary, isn't she? Well, I use ORS hair care products. Their Curled Unleashed line is specifically designed for naturalistas. So if you have a fro or twist or however you wear your hair natural, Curls Unleashed has a product for you. I use their Rich Style Cream after washing and conditioning, and then I add the Jelly Souffle. The two of these together has my fro maintained in a way that it looks so good. So if you want your fro to have moisture and to stop the breaking, look into ORS Hair Care Curls Unleashed.
Do you feel stuck in your life? Are you at the same level and don't know why? Feel like you have no direction? Edna White, your life purpose coach, can give you the tools you need to surpass your goals and attain the love, life, and business profit you deserve. Coaching can give the accountability you need to take off. Yes, with coaching, you can move forward in your life, love, and business. Invest in yourself today.
Hey, good people, and you are checking out Determined Women of Destiny. My guest is Yvonne Forbes. She is the public relations person of publicly relations persons. She is that chick. And if you're just tuning in, you know what I always say, shame on you. You should be here in the beginning, but I am so glad you're here now. I love you for the support and encouragement. Before the break, Yvonne was telling us about, the importance of having a public relations person. So Yvonne, let's go back to that. As far as the media goes, the media, they're hounds. We know about the tabloids. We know People Magazine. We know how people can be just ripped apart on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Tell us a little bit more about your role and how not only do you get your clients, in the public eye, but how you can take them out of the public eye also.
Yes. I'm going to give you the best way for me to do is give you an example. I had a client during the COVID, um, well-known client, apparently went to party went to a party, a COVID party, and he just got reamed in the public eye. I had all the major outlets calling me. Why is your client at a COVID party right in the middle of COVID? What kind of example? He's not caring about anybody else. And I immediately called my client and I said, what on earth is going on? I had to get in front of this. And how I got in front of it was I said, you're going to own up to this. Because apparently a lot of the other people that were involved in this particular situation basically buried their heads in the sand. They disrupted their social media. They took their social media down. They hid and they were cowards. And I said to my client, no, you're going to own up to this and you're going to apologize because you're human and we all make mistakes. And you're going to let people know that you made a mistake. So how do we do this? So now I have to get on the ball and I have to schedule interviews where he can get the opportunity to speak and tell his side and why he did it. And I said, just be honest and apologize. And it so happens that the very same people that were criticizing him and reaming him were able to watch the interviews and say, you know what? I get it. You're in the middle of COVID. Everybody was strung out. Everybody was crazy. People were like, I just need to get out. I need to be with somebody. And they understood his need and his plight. And of course, some people still didn't go, but it saved his career because they have this thing called cancel culture. And they were all talking about cancel culture. And this particular individual really couldn't afford that. So basically, he was able to change the narrative and the perspective from others and those his fans and those who were watching it to say, you know what, and put a human perspective on it. And they were able to empathize and we were able to save his career that way. And he's forever grateful on that. And so what I did is immediately jumped in what we call crisis management. I called all the press. I said that I could get that were available. And I said, this is a situation. Would you like to hear his side? So that others could hear his side. So that's the best example I could give to you in regards to how we work with our clients, especially on that particular level.
Right. And you see, we're all engrafted in reality TV.
Yes.
So when someone comes out and says, hey, I was just being human, they've got our eye and our ear now,
Yes.
because that's why we're all checking out reality TV, because we want to see you as a human. How do you live?
Yes. Correct.
Now, since everything shut down during COVID, how did you keep your business afloat? Because if you're working with everybody who's in the public eye, and the public eye now has been really shut down, we couldn't see anything, we couldn't go anywhere. How did you keep your business afloat during that time?
I worked with the theme and what and within everybody was talking about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So all the news outlets were looking for stories with COVID. So you have to adapt and go with the flow, so to speak, and what they're talking about. You got to put your ear to the ground and say, okay, this is what they're focusing on. What stories do I have that can fit within their stories and their leads? And that's basically what I did. And I didn't really change my schedule. I was up, I was grinding, I was doing the same thing. I never really stopped to allow COVID to intervene into my business. I continued doing, of course, it was a little bit more difficult, but you've got to find a different path to reach your destination. And basically that's what I did. So I looked at my stories and I looked at my clients and I said, and a lot of my clients were doing things pertaining to COVID. Like one of my clients was making hats and gowns. She's a designer, and normally she makes gowns, but she decided to make hats and masks, and she spun her business. So guess what? I'm letting the media know this is what my client is doing, and they loved it because they wanted to see how people were dealing with COVID. So I definitely pushed those stories to the media and they picked it up. I mean, and when we honest with you, I had like the busiest year during COVID.
I like that. You talked about, adapting your business, changing
Yeah.
your business, switching. Sometimes we're so used to doing business as usual that when something comes out of left field, it just kills us.
Certainly
And,
does.
and instead of thinking outside of the box, you're like, okay, we're in COVID. All right. And I'm a publicist. So how can I publicize COVID? Okay, let's switch to this, and I love that. I speak to my female entrepreneurs all the time. You have to feel the climate, you have to hear the climate,
Yeah.
and then you have to deal with the climate, that's in front of you.
And that does come from experience as well. If and this is something that I do try to tell. I have staff that work for me, and I try to explain to them that, you know, it's not cookie cutter type of business. You do have to change. You do have to redirect. You do have to adapt. You do have to listen and pay attention to what is going on in your environment and see how you can move within that environment and still stand out to still stand out. Your story has to be so unique that they want to hear the story. And it could be something as simple as, it could be very simple, but it's how you put a spin on that story. And you got to, again, like I said, listen to what the media is requesting and fit your story into that plot.
So someone just starting out, and they're saying, I need a publicist, I need to get out there. What would be one of the first things that you would recommend to them?
To have their ducks in a row. One of the things that many clients, I've had some, no, I wouldn't say clients, but potential clients approach me, and they don't have a website. There's certain things they don't have a business plan. They don't have, um, you know, they need to have their ducks in a row so that this way, when we are promoting them, we're promoting them in their entirety. The whole. I understand that if they don't have it, then they can come on and we will help them build that, and that's where the brand strategy comes in, to help them build their business, because I am now in that lane. If they do need to set it up, then we will help them set it up. But I prefer that they come on board and they have their business intact and their ducks in a row.
Okay, when you say ducks in a row and you say business plan, know what you want to do. That's what you're
Exactly.
saying.
You know what you want to do.
Mhm.
got your products, you've got your website. Um, you may not have a logo, but you have a thought of what you want for your logo. You've got to have a specific business plan and vision because you can't promote something if you're not sure of what you want and how
Mhm.
you want to promote it. Um, but if you have that, and let's say you come to me and you have a logo, then I will say, okay, you have your logo, but does this logo best represent your brand? What is your logo saying? Colors. Is it uniform? Because branding is branding. Branding means that every message of your business is talking about your business and selling your business. So we can help them with that as far as the branding part, but at least have something in place so we have something to work with because at least I have an idea of what your vision is. But if you don't have a website, you don't have social media, excuse me, you don't have social media or anything like that, you really can't, you're starting from scratch. We can help you start from scratch, but I prefer at least you have those basic things in place.
Right, an idea.
Excuse me, allergies, sorry.
I understand. It's that time of year. It's that time
Yes,
of
it
year.
is. Yes, it is.
So it's know what you want to do.
Hmm.
Okay. Have an idea how you would like to bring it to the public. Um, put it on paper. And
Yes,
everybody that follows me knows where I'm going because
yes,
I tell them all the time, you work better from a document than you do from thoughts.
yes. And I would also, if someone wants, sometimes say they want a publicist, but they
Mhm.
don't do the research into what a publicist does. And I would always recommend that they should do that because they automatically come on. I'm so sorry. Come
Okay.
on thinking that we're managers or agents, and we don't work as managers and agents.
Mhm.
And then they wonder why public relations is so expensive because they don't really understand what we do. So I would suggest that they would also do their work because they see other clients being so successful and they're like, oh, wow, she's everywhere. I want a publicist. They
Mhm.
don't understand why she's everywhere.
Right. The
Yeah.
background work. So
Yeah.
we're going to go to break. And when we come back, you're going to talk to us a little bit more about your grind in the background
Okay.
and then, give some motivation to some of the women that may want to go into public relations field or how someone can contact you to take their brand to the next level. We'll be right back.
Marguerite Bynum here, CEO of Supreme Manage. We are your strategic marketing and small business consulting firm. As a small business consulting firm, we provide owners with resources, advice, and planning designed to improve your organization's performance and efficiency. We assist businesses by identifying problems, implementing solutions, and reaching your goals. If that sounds like something you need, feel free to contact us at Supreme Manage on Instagram, and we will get back to you right away.
And we are back. I'm so glad you're taking this journey with me today.
Oh, I'm enjoying this. Thank you so very much.
Oh, I have Yvonne Forbes, if you're just tuning in. And I am Yvonne, the motivator man from Determined Women of Destiny. It is a pleasure to have somebody on my show that has my same name.
Yes. Yvonne to Yvonne. Yes.
Yes. We've been talking about public relations, a publicist, why you need it, what they do. But there's so many other things that Yvonne does also. She has a magazine and she also has a TV show. So, Yvonne, if you could tell us about those two things. And then, of course, she's going to give you a little motivation and let you know how she can be reached.
Yes. So I'm a co-host with my business partner Delvon Johnson. I'm actually in the studio. We just finished the show about an hour ago. Um, it's called Fashion Etc. Fashion ETC. We've been doing the show for about 5 years now, and we were doing Facebook Live, but now we're on actually Roku and Amazon Fire. The Real Reality, and you can it's the app that you download on Roku for the Real Reality Network on Roku. And we used to do the show every day, Mondays through Fridays from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And everybody used to say, how do you do that? But when you put your mind to something and you're passionate about it, you will make it work. And if it's something that you enjoy doing, it's never work. I mean, of course,
Absolutely.
we have the days sometimes where we're like, oh, I don't feel like doing it, but then we do it and we feel invigorated, and we were looking at like it's therapy for both of us.
Mhm.
Um, and now we actually during COVID, since COVID, we decided that we're going to do it once a week, and then we send it to Roku, and then anybody can watch it every Monday from
Mhm.
7 p.m. at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, you can catch it on demand. But the show basically is about um, the show is about um, fashion, etc. There's fashion in everything. And being that fashion is like, my background and also my co-host background, um, we decided that we talk about any and everything, but it's real. We, if you see the bloopers and the blunders, that's what you get. It's real. It's real talk, real fun, real chit chat, just talking about what's in the news, what's going in our lives. We give fashion advice. We listen to our fans and they ask us questions, and we give our perspective on everything and anything and everything. And it's been very successful. A lot of people were really raving down south. A lot of people really loved the show. We've had many people tuning in from all over the world. Africa, Italy, Sweden, England. Um, and it's we're just growing and growing and growing, and we love it. And as I said, you can watch it on the Real Reality Network on Roku and also Amazon Fire.
Okay, so we will be tuning in to check out that show. Now, tell us about the magazine.
Okay, well, the magazine is called FITFL, and it's the acronym for Fashion in the Fast Lane. We did start the magazine about 3 years ago, and it was very successful. But due to my schedule, our schedule, I had to put the magazine on hiatus. But we had rave reviews. We were rival to like Marie Claire, Vogue, um, Times Magazine. Usually had about 200 pages, but from the gamut. We had it was a luxury magazine that also entertainment, and we gave advice columns and recipes, fashion. We would cover red carpet events. So all of that was incorporated in the magazine. I would love to bring it back, but I'd have to bring a team on now because my schedule has just gotten so increasingly busy. I wasn't able to consistently devote time to it, but it's still around, and it's still available.
Okay. So if there's someone watching and they're saying, I really want to get into public relations, I want to be a publicist, what advice would you give them how to start the process?
Well, to start the process is get an education. This day and age, get an education in public relations. And so many things have changed from the time that I started. There's so many new platforms, new approaches. Um, I myself, I'm always constantly updating and educating myself because there's so many things that are new. I'll take classes. I love to do like the webinars and hear what some of my fellow uh, publicists are talking, and especially some of them just coming out of college and what they've learned. And sometimes be open. That's one of the things I say. Be very open-minded to hear what others have to say, especially in public relations, because one of the things with public relations is you've got to find your own niche that's going to work for you. Yes, there's a typical formula, but how you work that formula, you've got to make it for yourself. It's about your approach. Are you a people person? Do you like to speak? How are you on the phone? You've got to have a lot of patience. Sometimes you want things really quick. You got to get this interview, but guess what? The outlet might say, "We know I can't get it until next week." So you got to have a lot of patience. But if you and then I have one lady training under me right now. She does want to go into PR, and one of the things is definitely update on your communication skills. That's most important. Um, and have a lot of patience, and definitely get an education in public relations.
Okay, so someone coming out of school right now, you've heard it here first, you know, uh, you're the freshest on the bunch here. So you have all the great, wonderful ideas for someone who may be a woman of a certain age that has decided, I'm going to do this. This has been my dream. I've been looking into this. You know, you've heard it here first. You know, follow your dream. Follow
Yeah,
your dream.
follow your dreams, and if your heart is speaking to you, follow your dream. And if it's something that you truly enjoy, then it's not work. Um, of course, you're gonna have the days where you want to just pack it all in, and I've had those days, and I'm letting everybody know we have those days.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
I I know you have to understand and know and be confident in yourself. I know I'm good at what I do. I know I'm good at what I do, and I've got to be consistently say, I believe in myself, because if I can't believe in myself, then I cannot believe in my client.
So what's the next thing for Yvonne Forbes? Well, what can we look out for?
Well, I'm actually working on a couple of projects for 2022. Right now, for me, is really setting up and being ready for 2022. And I say that is like really pushing my business in a corporate level and in a corporate direction. COVID was a standstill for many people, but for me, it was an opportunity to really reevaluate and restructure. And that's what I'm going to be doing for 2022. And just really branching out more into the events, which I really love to do under my business is, producing events and doing some traveling and just really streamlining my company in certain areas, and just building. And that's what I'm looking for, is just really pushing my company to be really successful, continue to be successful. It is successful, continue to be successful.
How can we reach you? For someone who, needs that public relation person, needs a publicist, how can we reach you? How can we inquire about your services?
Okay, you can easy. You can go to my website, which is www.labelladiva.com. My company's name is Labella Diva Enterprises. My website is spelled LAB as in boy, ELLE DIV as in Victor A.com. labelladiva.com. And or you can reach me on Instagram, where my website is there also, and it's Ms. Diva Daz, which is MS, there's no I, DIVA DAZZ. Ms. Diva Daz.
Okay, so all of my wannabe Instagrammers, Facebookers, and Twitterers, you want to get yourself out there, you now have a contact. You can thank me later.
Oh,
Yvonne, thank you so much for being on the show. And as I always in my show with, keep doing what you're doing until what you're doing gets done. Peace and blessings.
peace and blessings. Thank you so very much, Yvonne. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. For more information regarding this guest or previous guests on my show, please go to determinedwomenofdestiny.com. Until we meet again, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.